troubling.
From Fox 5, this is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. It was like lightning. American warplanes struck with precision and without warning. Just about 6 hours ago, U.S. forces launched Tomahawk missiles against an Iraqi intelligence site in Baghdad. President Clinton ordered the strike after there was what he called compelling evidence Saddam was behind the plot to kill former President Bush. Mr. Bush visited Kuwait in April to accept an honor for his role in leading coalition forces in the Gulf War. President Clinton's message to Saddam: "You will not go unpunished." We have team coverage of the military strike as well as local reaction. We begin with Fox News reporter Chip Reid, who is standing by at the White House. Chip?
The Joint Chiefs Chairman Colin Powell says 23 of the missiles were launched from 2 ships in the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. Early indications are all missiles hit the target. In his address to the nation, the president said the attack was taken to reinforce an old American slogan: "Don't tread on us."
I ordered our forces to launch a cruise missile attack on the Iraqi Intelligence Service's principal command and control facility in Baghdad. Those missiles were launched this afternoon at 4:22 Eastern Daylight Time. They landed approximately an hour ago.
The president said the missile attack from U.S. Navy ships on Iraqi intelligence headquarters was in retaliation for an assassination attempt against former President Bush in April in Kuwait.
The Iraqi attack against President Bush was an attack against our country and against all Americans. We could not and have not let such action against our nation go unanswered. From the first days of our revolution, America's security has depended on the clarity of this message: don't tread on us.
The former president was in Kuwait to receive an award for his role in defeating Iraq in the Gulf War. President Clinton said an investigation by the CIA and the Justice Department confirmed that more than a dozen operatives under the orders of the Iraqi Intelligence Service planned to use a car bomb to kill Mr. Bush, who was traveling with his wife, Barbara. The conspirators are now on trial in Kuwait. The White House forewarned of the possibility of an attack last month when then Communications Director George Stephanopoulos issued a statement on reports that Iraq had tried to assassinate Mr. Bush. Quote, "If we determine Iraq was involved in state-sponsored terrorism, the U.S. will take appropriate action against Iraq." In his speech tonight from the Oval Office, the president made clear that if Iraq continues to behave as an international outlaw, there will be more punishment in store.
If Saddam and his regime contemplate further illegal, provocative actions, they can be certain of our response.
In a later briefing at the Pentagon, Secretary of Defense Les Aspin made clear that although the attack was not aimed physically at Saddam Hussein, he was, in a sense, the target.
I think what we're looking for here is an attempt to send a signal to the people who are closest to Saddam Hussein that following this man is not good for your health.
We designed the attack in a way that it would be proportionate to the attempt on President Bush's life.
Again, early indications from the Pentagon are that the attack was a success. The Iraqi intelligence headquarters appears to have been largely destroyed. Here at the White House, the hope is that this is the last they'll hear from Saddam Hussein for some time to come. But of course, given his track record, that can only be a hope. Reporting live from the White House, Chip Reid, Fox News.
Okay, thank you very much, Chip. President Clinton consulted with national security officials and with congressional leaders before ordering the military strike. George Smith is live in Lynbrook, Long Island, with reaction to the bombing from New York's junior senator. George?
We caught up with Senator Alfonse DAmato out here on Long Island. He was enjoying the movie Sleepless in Seattle. We're sorry for the inconvenience. We thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, George.
What is your initial reaction to the president's decision?
I support it entirely. I think most Americans, all Americans, will join in supporting him. He's done the right thing. He took the time out to verify the facts that Saddam Hussein was behind this, that the Iraqis at the highest level attempted to bring about this assassination of a former president. You just cannot permit this to happen. This was a new kind of warfare. And so this was very appropriate, very measured, and I think all Americans should support him. He's the commander-in-chief. Put aside any other differences because terrorism is going to continue to rear its ugly head in this country. World Trade Center, the attempted bombing of the tunnels. These are the kinds of things that some of these third world nations and others like the Iranians and the Iraqis will attempt to foster. So I think this is a very important blow for freedom and against terrorism.
What about the timing? Why now?
Well, because it did take some time to verify and ascertain with definiteness that this was an act not by just some independent operators, but really was countenanced and really did have the support of the Iraqi government. So I think the president did the right thing in gaining those facts. Our intelligence people went over there, verified the accuracy of the claims that were made, and I think the timing really had more to do with when he had these facts. So I support him. I don't think it had anything to do with, you know, popularity. Will his popularity go up? Of course. When someone does something that's right, I think the American people will support him, and if he gains in that, so be it. He is the commander-in-chief, though. I support this. And when he spoke to me yesterday at 11:45, he indicated to me that he was prepared to take some very strong steps against those nations sponsoring terrorism. So I had a feeling that this would be coming sooner rather than later, and I fully support him.
What do you think about what's the next step? It's in many ways, Saddam Hussein is the man who won't go away. What will we need to do next?
Well, again, we want to be measured in this. We're not looking for an all-out war. That's not what we're about. And it may be necessary to hit another target or to complete the job. I'm going to leave that to the president. I don't think we should be second-guessing. He gets the information, the intelligence is good, and I believe that he's headed in the right direction. We've got to let the Iranians know if they pull this thing, these kinds of things, and if we trace back some of these attacks here, these terrorist attacks to the Iranians, why then we're going to have to punish them accordingly. You simply cannot allow terrorists who would hold us hostage by this kind of activity to get away with it.
Final thought, is it necessary to go after Saddam himself?
Again, I don't know how appropriate that may be, how practical it is. I certainly wouldn't want to do it at a great risk to manpower and to the pilots who have to go in there. But that's something we best let the generals and the intelligence community determine when and if it's appropriate. I certainly, it wouldn't bother me to go after him. I think he is a war criminal in the truest sense.
Okay, Senator D'Amato, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Lynn, let's go back to you right now.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Well, we talked to some New Yorkers about the president's decision to bomb Baghdad.
There are troublemakers, and troublemakers should be eliminated.
I'm not happy about it. It's not anything that I wish to see Americans involved in any longer. It's unfortunate that it couldn't have been stopped when we first tried to stop it. But it is necessary to stop people like Saddam Hussein.
Very frightening. Very, very frightening.
I think Mr. Clinton's looking for another excuse. Was it in retaliation for the attempt on Bush's life?
Yes.
Maybe you could find a more current reason. I mean, it seems like every time we run into trouble and we need an improvement in popularity, they look for another reason to bomb Iraq.
One person had nothing to say about the attack. Former President Bush, who apparently was the target of the assassination plot, reached at home in Kennebunkport. Mr. Bush had no comment for the Associated Press.